It is Friday 19th of January, time for another update, and it's been about a month since the previous one. So yeah, this is the first update of 2018, maybe, and I'm doing okay, which is always surprising. Getting very cold here. I'm out in western Tokyo, just on the edge of Yokohama, and yeah, it's very cold, but Japanese winter's very sunny, which I love. I find it far easier to deal with than the dark British winter. On the other hand, at the moment, for me, sun is not a great thing, as you can see from my super blotchy red face. The side effect of one of the drugs I'm taking is this very painful skin rash that kind of goes down over your head, face, chest and back. And one of the things that aggravates it is sunshine, so I tend to wear a big hat when I go outside, or try to go out after dark, which is probably wise anyway. So this is just an update to say I'm still alive against all odds. And so the end of last year I was accepted for proton beam therapy, which is one of those treatments that is often written about in the media as being a new cancer treatment. It's actually been around for 30 years or something. But I guess it's improved massively recently, and also the surrounding treatments and medical technologies have improved a lot, which make proton beam therapy far more viable. Unfortunately, just about a week before I was due to start, I had a blood test result, which was the second in a row showing high cancer activity, which strongly suggests that the chemotherapy had stopped working, which always happens with chemotherapy. That's the nature of evolution, unfortunately. Cancer evolves quickly in the body, so it gets chemo-resistant. And in fact, there's tends to be part of any cancer tumours that's chemo-resistant anyway. So it was not possible to start the proton beam therapy at the same time as changing my chemotherapy, because proton beam therapy it's a very gentle therapy, but it's slow. So in my case, it would have taken 8 weeks, 5 times a week. So it's the 38 sessions, and during that time I need a stable chemotherapy regime that's controlling the cancer, because there's a time lag with the proton beam therapy. I think what happens is that the proton beam therapy causes double breaks in the DNA in the cancer cells, and then the immune system helps destroy those cancer cells after a while. So I decided to continue with the same chemotherapy but change the drug that goes with it. So I was on a drug called Avastin, which stops cancer making new blood supplies, and I've switched to a drug called Erbitux, which has this horrific skin rash. This is very, very mild. This is what's called stage 1 or level 1, and in severe cases like I had in the past with a related drug, Erbitux, goes up to level 3, which is the skin is completely covered with like an orange crust of weeping sores, and it's very, very, very unpleasant. So anyway, Erbitux is working for me according to the blood tests, which is good. My cancer is very, 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 very responsive to this drug, hyper responsive. which is good, obviously, because it's hopefully controlling the cancer and therefore giving me another chance at possibly having proton beam therapy. It's also good for another reason, which is because my cancer is so responsive to it, I'm able to have a slightly reduced dose. So I'm actually having Erbitux at 80% dose, which means the rash is considerably less than it would be at 100% dose. So the time scale of what's happening now is basically in 3 weeks' time, I have another monthly blood test for cancer activity. My oncologist is currently tracking 3 different tumour markers called CEA, CEA125 and CA199. And these measure the activity of the cancer tumours, and if the result is good or even just okay, then I'll meet the proton beam specialist again and see if I can be reassessed, which means going up to the hospital in the north of Japan, in Fukushima, having a PET scan and then an MRI scan. And basically, if the PET scan shows only tumours in my liver with no new tumours in the rest of the body, then I should be accepted to do the proton beam therapy, which would then be about 8 weeks, around 40 sessions once a day, and follow this up with intensive immunotherapy. And this would be done with what's called radical intent in the case of proton beam therapy, which basically means curative intent. So trying to cure the incurable stage 4 terminal cancer, which is just amazing, obviously. The Japanese are getting very good results, really, with curing incurable cancer at the moment. Very good results in a small number of patients, but but in a very reliable, well-defined way. So it's not like you hear with these new drugs where a small percentage of the patients get amazing results and it's not clear why or how to predict or anything like that. With this curative treatment for incurable cancer, it's a clear 3-step process, and you can see how each step is progressing and not move on to the next step until the current one is successful. So it's a much more reliable, robust way of treating people. It's it will probably be standard care instead of 10 years' time, but obviously I will be dead long before that. So hopefully I'll have it in the next few months if it's possible, and if I can raise the huge amount of money it costs. Proton beam therapy itself, I think, is something like $25,000, and then intensive immunotherapy is $17,000, $18,000 on top of that. And yeah, so I need to raise that money pretty quickly. End of last year I was making some progress towards it, and then the proton beam therapy got postponed. So yeah, if you can share this video, that makes a huge difference. And my fundraising link is matthewdons.org. That's matthewdons.org. And the other thing that really helps is if you can click the subscribe button on YouTube, then more people get to see these videos, and hopefully they will. These videos will be helpful to people. So thanks a lot for listening, and please like and subscribe and all that usual stuff.